Have you ever played the game Monopoly? You've surely seen players owning nearly every street on one side of the board. And you know what happens when your piece lands on their property. You pay up. No discussion. Now picture the desktop operating system market. Microsoft owns more than 3/4 of the board. Far behind comes Apple, followed by smaller players like Chrome OS and GNU/Linux, all fighting over the remaining crumbs. Recently, many celebrated the fact that GNU/Linux reached 5% of the desktop market. It's a symbolic milestone, but I don't believe Linux by itself will ever dominate the desktop the way Microsoft once did. If we exclude Chrome OS, I see 3 key blockers preventing the widespread adoption of pure GNU/Linux distributions. The most important is that Linux is rarely pre-installed. Most people use what comes with the machine. And that's almost never Linux. Unless PC manufacturers, especially Chinese ones, decide to ship hardware without Windows or Chrome OS, possibly for strategic or political reasons, pre-installed Linux will remain the exception, not the rule. Another obstacle is choice, or rather too much of it. Choice is great until it overwhelms. DistroWatch lists over 600 Linux distributions, with more than 250 still active. For most users, that's not a selling point. It's a headache. And even when a hardware maker bets on Linux, they often end up creating their own custom distro, adding to the chaos. Finally, there's the adoption curve. When a new technology appears, it's usually embraced first by innovators and early adopters, people comfortable with risk. But the majority of users come later, only when the product feels safe and stable. Microsoft and Google understood this. Instead of waiting for the masses to move to Linux, they brought Linux to the masses. Microsoft launched WSL. Google built Chrome OS. In that sense, GNU's Linux has already broken into the mainstream, but not in the way many expected. Just like oil companies like Total rebranded themselves as champions of clean energy, Microsoft is slowly reinventing itself as a service company. Its operating system is no longer the end product. It's a gateway to its SaaS offerings, much like Google's Chrome OS. So maybe the real question isn't, when will GNU/Linux reach 10% of the desktop market? It's, when will Microsoft complete its metamorphosis? Years ago, GNU/Linux was seen as a fringe outsider. Now, it's the default layer, even for the monopolists.